Welcome to Truth by Billie Beene, a flash update. Today's date, March 5, 2026, time in Texas about 9 a.m. Some of the things we'll cover: some earthquakes in Alaska and Louisiana. U.S. military now controls the Strait of Hormuz. China, secret memo. So let's get started. We have had earthquakes in Alaska along the Aleutian Island chain. So we had one March 4 yesterday, a 6.4 that was 6.2 miles deep. And we've had an earthquake this morning, March 5, near Edgeville, Louisiana. That was a 4.4. That was also very shallow, several miles deep. And we've had also, in the past 24 hours, we had 2 Russian warplanes invade the airspace over Alaska. They were met by many planes from the U.S. military, F-15s, F-35s, plus Canadian warplanes. This is the first time I've actually heard of Russian planes invading our airspace over Alaska. Typically, we hear they've approached our airspace. Well, this time we had 2 Russian planes invading the airspace over Alaska, but they were quickly routed by a united front by both the U.S. and Canadian military. But that's something to watch out for. I suspect Russia was testing the response. We have this from Pastor Paul Begley talking about the Iranian warship, Iris Stena, that was taken out by a U.S. submarine torpedo near Sri Lanka in international waters. It's reported 180 people on the ship. It sounds like a getaway ship to me. It was sunk. The Sri Lankan Navy then rescued 32. So that's going on. Now, it's reported this morning there's another Iranian Navy ship in that same area that has made it from the international waters into the exclusive economic zone territorial waters of Sri Lanka. What the U.S. military will do remains to be seen. And we have this from What's Up with Shipping. Iran yesterday also sank a Russian LNG tanker. It's believed this was one near Malta in the Mediterranean Sea. It's unknown if this was a strike from Iran or a strike by Iran's proxy Hezbollah located in Lebanon. But Iran has sank a Russian tanker. So that's going on. And the Russian tanker was named Arctic Madagascar. It was carrying LNG. It was hit near the island of Malta. So we have Israel. Then we have an island, Cyprus, and another island, Malta, in that area. But it's believed, most likely, that this Russian tanker was hit by the Iranian proxy Hezbollah from Lebanon. And we have this, that, and the Lebanese people have been ordered to shelter in place. And that we are seeing refugees flowing from Iran, 10,000 into Syria, 1,000 flowing out of these areas. 10,000 out of Syria and 1,000 out of Lebanon. I'm not sure what countries they're going into. They're not going into Iran for sure. Possibly they're going into Azerbaijan or Armenia. Yeah, so that's going on. And we have this, that Iran has been also hitting its Gulf states neighbors. So now Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and the UAE are uniting to hit Iran. And it's being put forth that part of the religious beliefs by the group in Iran is that they need to bring about World War III Armageddon to bring back their Messiah figure, Mahdi, which requires world war. So that's going on. And we have this, that, Iran has hit the Razi airport in Azerbaijan. And there are air defense measures being taken by Azerbaijan to bring down these drones and so forth. We have from Al Jazeera English. It's being reported by Iran that 900 people in Iran have been killed. It's being reported by Israel that 11 people have been killed in Israel. And that we also have Iranian nationals called the Kurds, who have been in exile in Iraq, are now flowing back into Iran, thousands of them, as a resistance group to fight on the side of the U.S. and Israel. So that's going on. And we have this. It's being reported inside Israel, primarily Tel Aviv and Haifa, that 200 Israeli buildings have been brought down. And we have this. Larry Johnson, former CIA, reports the size of the Iranian military as being 550,000. We do have reports also from CENTCOM. We've been seeing on social media that Iran said it had taken down an F-15, U.S. F-15 over Iran, and that it had hit a U.S. destroyer. CENTCOM comes out and says neither of these things are true. An F-15 has not been hit by Iran, and Iran has not hit a U.S. destroyer. The name of the Iranian ship that was taken down by torpedo is Iris Dina. So we have that. And we have that. So the U.S. is reporting that the U.S. military has destroyed 20 Navy ships of Iran, and that the U.S. military has taken out also Iranian submarines in the area of the Gulf of Oman, Strait of Hormuz, Persian Gulf, and that the U.S. military is now in control of the Strait of Hormuz. It's very likely it will be another 24 to 48 hours before traffic is restored in the Strait of Hormuz. This is being put forth by military analysts because today Secretary of War Hegseth is meeting with the CENTCOM leader Cooper in Tampa, Florida. CENTCOM is in charge of the Middle East U.S. military, and it's believed the biggest hit the U.S. military has made to date will take place in the next 24 hours, which of course would negate a regular flow of traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. However, it is good to know that the U.S. military is in charge of the Strait of Hormuz. It's also being put forth that up to 90% of Iran's missiles, drones, and launchers have been taken out by the U.S. and Israel militaries. So that's going on. And we have this. So what's going on in China? So we see a brilliant plan by President Trump to protect America. Many of our number one enemy is China, but Venezuela, Cuba, Iran also present standing threats to America, as does Mexico. Well, President Trump has taken out cheap oil to China from Venezuela and Iran, which is now destroying the economy of China. The U.S. has the largest consumer base in the world, and the U.S. economy is based on American citizens being consumers. China's economy is based on exporting to the U.S. That's been dramatically decreased by President Trump's program of tariffs. Plus, China is now being deprived of cheap oil from Venezuela and Iran. And this will be day 4 or 5 that Chinese planes and ships have not been seen around Taiwan. It's believed this is because China is suffering severely with a shortage of fuel. A secret memo inside China has been put forth. China's plan to take over and destroy America from within, to destroy the U.S. economy, the U.S. military, and so forth. Now, we saw in years gone by China taking all the manufacturing jobs out of the U.S. This has been a deep state plan for decades. Also, China, inside the U.S., with our U.S. military, the DEI program, which President Trump has gotten rid of, and now we see the U.S. military returning to their warrior status in our military. So China's decades-long, multi-decades-long plan to destroy America and take it down from within is not going to work. That's in opposition to God, the American people, President Trump, the U.S. military, and so on. Another part of this secret memo put forth that since China's economy and Xi's now destruction of the Chinese military is taking place, that China's plan now is to ration food to the Chinese people. Food and water and fuel and medicine. It's also being put forth that Xi has destroyed the Chinese military by taking down multiple levels, taking out all of its generals who had military training and combat experience, turning the Chinese military from a professional military to something simply to be used for ceremonies. So that's going on. And we have this from Epoch Times, American thought leaders. That was the recipient of the secret leaked memo from China. China's plan was to take down the U.S. by destroying U.S. economy, U.S. military, and U.S. cyber sources. So that's going on. And this program in China is called WinG, crisis opportunity, according to a Chinese expert. And this is China versus the U.S. And now China's plan, according to the secret memo, is to unite with the European Union and turn the European Union against America. President Trump, get us out of NATO. So that's going on. And we have this. Yeah. So in that recent meeting, a significant meeting in China just took place March 3 and 4 of the Chinese government, CCP, and the Chinese military. There are still empty seats there that are not being changed of disappeared generals. So it's unknown what's going on there. But we do see, it appears that China's economy is being crushed, and they're now putting forth a rationing program for the Chinese people. We have this from PROMETHEAN update. We have seen several European NATO nations turning against the U.S., not stepping up to meet the needs of the U.S., as we're hitting Iran, which was an enemy to all in the Middle East. And we see Spain, the leader of Spain, saying, oh, the U.S. can't launch against Iran from Rota, U.S. military base located in Spain. I got this to say to Spain, shut up. President Trump, you need to get us out of NATO. You need to also make a public statement that it is anti-American to buy anything from Spain, and that American tourists should not visit Spain. And the same goes for the UK. And we've also heard negative remarks by the UK, Germany, and France against the U.S. military's protection of the U.S. against Iran. Shut up, EU. And President Trump, get us out of NATO. So that's going on. Now, the U.S. military, likely within the next 24 to 48 hours, is going to restore the normal flow of oil and gas through the Strait of Hormuz. This will be done through the efforts of God, the American people, President Trump, and the U.S. military. So it's good to be in prayer, and that includes praying for world peace. I love you, and I'll see you soon.